Her Cowgirl Strength is here today with Amber Bass in Brenham, Texas. Amber, tell us where we're at.
Today, my name is Amber Bass. We are at Cattleman's Brenham Livestock. This is our auction that we have a sale every Friday. We also, my husband is a partner as well at Cattleman's Columbus Livestock, which is in Columbus, Texas, and they have a sale every Wednesday.
Okay, and so by having a sale, an auction house or a sale barn, what does that mean? What kind of animals come through here? What's the purpose of the sale barn?
So anyone, this is a public auction, anyone can buy or sell, whether you have one cow or you have 10,000 cows. It's a public auction and anyone can bring any adult, male or female, or a calf from any of your cows or calves every week, and then we sell those one by one to buyers that buy them, and anyone can buy as well, whether that you are an individual wanting to replace some of your cattle or buyers that actually buy them to send them to the feed yards and continue to feed them, that they go on to eventually go to the packer and end up in the grocery stores.
Okay, so a lot transpires here, anywhere from people raising cattle on a couple acres in their backyard for a hobby or something like that, all the way to thousands of cows, and this is their business.
Correct. So you can have someone that has 5 cows in their backyard, or we have the person that has 10,000 cows on lots of acreage, that this is their living that they make by raising calves and selling them here for their livelihood.
So how many cattle come through in a sale?
So in the springtime is usually our slower runs, because a lot of people breed their animals in the spring and then they have their calves in the fall. So we usually, our fall sales starting in about September to December, our larger sales. We can sell anywhere from, an average sale is between 1,000 and 1,500 every single week in one day.
Oh gosh.
And then when you get into the fall sales, like I was talking about, like September to October, and sometimes that depends on the weather, but really October to December, we can run anywhere from 1,500 to 2,300 head in a day.
Wow.
At either barn.
Wow.
Columbus or Brenham.
So price-wise, is it better to have calves ready in the spring? Are you going to get, because you said there's a shortage in the spring?
We just usually have fewer just because people don't want to feed. So a lot of times people put their bulls out a certain time of year, so they have their
That's
calf
why they breed?
at a different time of year. And a lot of people will pull their bulls off of their cows a certain time of year because they want a calf at a certain time of year. So when you have calves that you sell in the winter time like this, you've got clover, you've got oats and such like that, that people are planning to feed those calves throughout the wintertime until they're ready to go to the feed yard and packer.
Okay, so if you had a calf or cow ready in the spring, that means you fed them hay all winter.
Correct.
Oh,
so a lot
they're
of times
expensive.
people, that can be expensive. You know, of course you have to feed your adult animals either way through the winter time, depending on how harsh the winter is.
Right.
This current year, it's been very mild winter and everything is good, you know, but last year, the year before, when we had snowstorms, it's pretty tough, and that's where a lot of your expenses are, whether people have to own their land, they may have leases, or when you get into feeding animals, whether it be feed cubes, you know, or hay, and we put out a lot of mineral for our animals, for our personal animals throughout the winter time to keep them in good shape so they are ready to reproduce and have another calf the next year.
So this is a family business, and you come from a line of cattle people.
Yes, yes. So I've been around cattle all my life. So my family had cattle. I met my husband, and he, at the time that we met, he had a manager where he helped him manage about 1,500 mother cows. And from there, then we just got a little deeper, and we bought a lot of our own cows. I remember the very first time we bought some cows together, we were really nervous we're really stepping out over that hump to get in the business ourselves. And so between that, you know, we own quite a few cows personally. And then he started managing, my husband, Doug Bass, he started managing the Cattleman's Brenham Livestock auction in 2009. And then became a partner in 2015. So we just kind of have gotten deeper and deeper into the business, whether it's owning our own cows or managing Brenham barn, Columbus barn, and then my husband also still works cows. And what I mean by working cows is if you want to send your animals to the barn to sell, then he will go out in the spring with his horses and dogs and put them in a pen and vaccinate, worm, put fly spray on all of the animals for you, you know, as a day rate. So he will, so it's kind of the leading up to get them to this market.
Okay.
But he will do all of that. So we call it, you know, day working. But he will go and work your animals if you don't have the capacity to do all that. So he will help you vaccinate them, worm them, put the fly spray on them in the fall or the spring. And then he will also help you pull the calves off that you may want to sell, and then help you get them here, haul them to the market to be able to sell them. So he also helps others with that as well.
There's a lot to cattle. So Amber, what is your part of the auction house?
So we have two different systems. You have the sales system that I have 3 ladies that work in the office at both barns, and they punch the tickets when an animal sells. So you're punching the tag number, the weight, and the price that it's sold for, and the buyer. I manage that end of the office and oversight that to make sure everything is going correctly. Then you also have the back office at both barns, where you have accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll for the employees, and all of those. So you have the front office, that's the sales system that happens a lot when the cattle are selling on the day of the sale. Then you have the back office, which is normal office. And I manage both of those, front and back, at both barns.
Okay, and then you were telling me that this is all regulated through the government. What is that?
Yes, both barns. Any cattle auction barn is regulated by the Department of Agriculture, the Packers and Stockers Exchange Division. So if they regulate us, we have to have our scales tested every 6 months and send in that certificate to show that the scales are working properly and the animals are being weighed correctly. And also we turn in a mid-year and an end-of-year report to the Department of Agriculture. So they do regulate any sales business, not ours, but just all sale barns.
Okay, so all of this that transpires here is basically the start to whatever they want to do with their cow once they take it from here. Some will go to probably like a feedlot or packing, meat packing or something like that.
Depending on the animal. So if you have an older adult male or female that, you know, is older, there are a lot of packer buyers. So, you know, certain orders and the way that they charge them, they are going directly to the packer. Then there's, but anyone in general can come if you need a replacement, you know, female, to replace something, an older animal that you've sold previously, and you would like to have X number of animals, you can buy those. And then you also have the calves. So whatever size they are, you also have the quote, what I would call the order buyers, that they are buying them and feeding them to a certain weight, and then they go to the feed yard to be fed, and then they eventually go to the packer as well when they get to the correct weight for the maximum capacity.
Okay, so I just go to the store and buy ground beef. Had no idea that it goes through all of this, and all of this is a long process. How long does it take to grow a cow to be ready to go to meat packing?
So I would say a cow has a calf on January 1st. You had to breed her and wait for her to have the calf. Then she has a calf, and depending on what weight you need to sell her, personal, you know, we always say that more pounds brings more dollars. So, you know, a lot of times people will sell calves when they're weighing 600 and 700 pounds.
That doesn't happen overnight?
No, that does not happen overnight, and you have to manage
like a
those.
couple years, or?
No, probably 6 or 7 months.
Really?
You know, so you wait that long, and then you decide the calf is big enough and optimum to sell. So then you bring her to the market. Hopefully your cow has bred back again, and then it's a repetitive process every year.
So there is a lot of timing going in. You don't want to sit for too long without calves.
Correct. You know, and you don't want to, if you continue to breed the cow, you know, we call it a 3-in-1, where she's got a big calf that needs to be sold and she's about to have another calf. I mean, it's a constant cycle for cows.
Wow.
You know, you want them to have a calf every year, because that is your profit when you have a calf.
Okay.
If she skips a year, basically you fed her all year long and she is not providing any money back, any profit.
This is amazing to me. And So, how long has this building been here? This is some old looking wood.
I started here in January of 17, but a little history, and I have some very old information. But I've been told that this particular barn here in Brenham was built in the 1940s. So, and to my knowledge, most everything what you're seeing right here is original, with a few, if something is broken or this or that. But this is the original barn from the 1940s that was built. I was told it originally started out as Port City Stockyards, and it was just one of the first ones when they're way back.
Wow.
And it's continue on, and we still have our sale every week. We have this is a Friday sale here in Brenham. We have 47 to 48 sales a year. We skip Good Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and we skip a week at Christmas. But other than that, we have a sale every single Friday, 48 sales a year.
And your oldest daughter likes working here?
Yes, my oldest daughter, her name is Hannah Bass. She likes working here. She likes working in the back with the guys. She can push the cattle up. She's kind of what we call our right-hand man around here. She can kind of do any of the spots, and she helps a lot in the back. What she does, her favorite spot in the back would be what we call calling pins. So when an animal comes through the ring right here, when it goes to sell, according to whoever bought her, she is letting the guys in the back know what pen to put that animal in based on who bought her. So whoever bought a particular animal, then she's organizing those cattle and putting all of those animals in the same pen. So when that person gets ready to pick up their animals that they purchased at the end of the day, they're all in one pen by themselves. And all they have to do is just load those cattle up. So she calls pens in the back.
There's a lot of different moving parts that happen on sale day.
Yes.
Wow. And this goes on every week?
Every single week. So a seller, the process from when they arrive here, so as a seller, you bring the cattle in. We put tags on their backs that assign them to a particular seller, and they go in a pen until you can bring them on Thursday to Brenham, or even Friday morning up until the sale is over. And we put tags on their back, and that tag on their back with a particular number is assigned to whoever the seller was. So those animals come in this side one at a time with that back tag number, and then the auctioneer auctions them to everyone in here. And then, like I say, they go out. My daughter tells them what pen to put them in based on who purchased them. And then the buyer on that end, on this side of the barn, comes and picks up their animals that afternoon, evening, next day, whatever that we've arranged, and they pick up the animals that they've purchased.
And so the most important thing is the money, and that's what you make sure
I do the money
is happening
right.
correctly.
Correct.
And so there's paper tags as well as the computer system, so there's a backup, so there's no problems with who bought what.
Correct. So you have the auctioneer that sits here that auctions him, and then we have what we call a ticket writer that sits beside him. In those two positions, a lot of times those people work at a different barn every single day of the week, 6 days a week.
Okay.
So you have our auctioneer that works at Brenham on Friday. He works at Columbus on Wednesday. He'll go to another barn on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. He's going to another barn.
Because you have to know how to talk fast. Not
Correct.
Everybody does that.
You know? And an auctioneer is an auctioneer, but then again, cattle, you kind of know, they know what animal to start, the starting bid price when it walks in, depending on if it's a heifer, a steer, and sometimes color does matter as well.
Okay.
And then the breed of the animal. So he kind of knows when they come in the ring, what price to start them at, because we run approximately 200 to 250 animals per hour.
Per hour?
Per hour. So when you're talking about 60 minutes, we're running 200 to 300 per hour. So it is a very fast pace. When they come in, they will circle 2 or 3 times and they go out.
So he has to talk fast.
So he's talking fast, and the ticket rider sitting beside him. At both barns, that particular person at both barns goes to another sale. So it's a very trained sense of ears, eyes, and knowing what to write down, and it's very fast paced when you have this.
And so, are there female auctioneers that you know of?
Personally, I don't know of any. There's nothing preventing a female from being an auctioneer. In the cattle business, I haven't seen one, but there's nothing preventing me or you from going and becoming an auctioneer ourselves.
Well, mine would be not being able to talk that fast and keep my wits about me.
And your brain is moving faster than your mouth is.
Exactly. Which I already have a problem. Either the brain's too slow or too fast. I don't know.
Same here. I had to write tickets a couple of weeks ago, and it was a lot for me because it's really a trained eye, ear, and everything.
You would have to almost, definitely like a practice.
Yes, it's
thing.
a practice thing. I work in the back, and I can tell you front to back what goes on back there. But when you put me up here, I'm capable. Anybody can do it, but it's a trained eye and ear to do that at that pace when you're running 200 to 300 per hour.
Wow.
I mean, that's 2 to 3 head per minute that we're selling.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time and your education on this process. I will never look at a package of meat like the same again.
Your food doesn't come from the grocery store. It comes from somewhere else that's produced to send it to the grocery store.
Wow. Well, I'm going to take a look around if you don't mind and see the whole back end of what goes on here.
Sure, anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the back of the auction barn. This is where they hold all the cattle in all these pens. This is the original part of the building that was built in the 1940s. It's huge. I'm not quite in the middle of it. This is looking back at the room we were just in where the cattle come into for bidding.